part 2 of 25 of this PTSD cognitive challenge I'm doing, push-ups. And the tip I'm giving today to help with PTSD, I want to focus on motivations and desire. Because we all know, if you have something that you're focused on, a goal, something that gets you out of bed every day, you know, those that are doing the push-up challenge, it's like, you've got something to do every day. I can't wait. I'm going to do my next push-ups, put my video out there. It's almost like fantasy football. Like, I know when I'm deployed, fantasy football is always exciting. I mean, the monotonous day of Groundhog Day, doing the same thing all the time, it gets boring, but fantasy football was always awesome. You know, you can't wait for the next week. You know, it's a motivation, something that gets you going, that gives you the desire to not quit. Especially when we're looking at PTSD and we're looking at suicide, you need to find all the variables that would help you, as I talked yesterday in cognitive behavioral therapy, help you second guess those initial thoughts. When you have a suicidal thought, thinking, why would I not want to commit suicide? What else is out there that motivates me? Why do I need to still stay alive? And motivations is a key part. And I want to talk about motivations, because what is it? What is a motivation? You know, any type of like variable factor out there that influences us to behave in a certain way. Everything we do is because a motivation directs us in one way or the other. You get up in the morning and you work your butt off in the gym. Is your motivation, you want that lovely beach body? Do you want to be able to beat your brother in bench press? Do you want to stay healthy so when you're 80 years old you can play with your grandchildren? Whatever the motivation is, it forces us and influences us to do something. And that's what I want to talk about, because understanding and having the motivation and creating motivation and finding a purpose and a reason will help you have a more healthier emotional state to maintain the strength and desire to fight off the negative emotional consequences of PTSD and potentially suicidal ideation. So when we're looking at motivations, there's a lot of, within the psychology body of knowledge, different theories on what motivates people, and I want to really focus on one. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you haven't heard that, just Google Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you'll see kind of get further knowledge on it. But I'll put it up here before I upload this video. You can see the pyramid. I'll leave it up here while I'm talking. So the way that this theory works. So Maslow states that people are motivated to do something because they need something. And what he did is, in this theory, he has a triangle, and you see the triangle at the bottom as it works its way from bottom to top. A lot of the stuff on the bottom is already, some of it's given to us, and some of it is the basic needs that we need to survive. So you look at the bottom, you got your physiological needs. Everyone needs water, food, warmth, rest. Part of the physiological needs, I like to add on there, spiritual, like a spiritual need. Just as much as you need water, if you're religious, you need that spiritual nourishment daily as well, as I see on the physiological needs. The next one goes up is safety needs. You know, you need to feel secure, you need to feel safe, you need to be able to, you need that need to be, have a home to go to, have a person to go to talk to when you're feeling in danger. And then that goes up into then the belongings need of feeling like you belong to a group, that you aren't an outsider, you're part of a club, you're part of an organization, feeling that you're a member of a team. And then it goes up to the esteem need is the next. So we need that feeling of accomplishment. We need people to be able to tell us, hey, you did good. Recognizing that you are feeling that high efficacy of your ability to to accomplish things, that you do have, knowledge, talent, success, and skills. And then the highest one is the self-actualization, achieving one's full potential. Being able to grow, being able to achieve goals and desires and things like that. And as we get into this, let me tell a really quick story, and a lot of how motivation can be an extremely powerful tool, if you really begin to understand it and understand how to apply it. So there's a movie that came out a while back with James Franco called something 100 Days or whatever. I can't remember what it is, but I read the book. The book's called Between a Rock and a Hard Place. It's about Aaron Ralstrom. He's from Colorado. He was rock climbing in southern Utah. He was all alone, didn't bring much food with him, made all kinds of mistakes, and then a rock fell on his arm. A clip of it right here. So the rock was stuck. He was stuck. He couldn't move. He ended up staying there for quite a few days. He ended up drinking his own urine, eating whatever snack. He was going in and out, hallucinating. He decided, I got to cut my arm off. He had a dull Gerber. He began to try and cut his arm off. I mean, it was painful. I mean, he talks about just touching the nerves with the knife was like the worst pain he ever felt. He ends up getting to the point to where he's like, I give up. I'm just going to die here. There's no way I can finish cutting my arm off. This is crazy. And he was kind of passing in and out between the pain. And while he was out, he had a dream. And in that dream, he sees a little boy that's running to him in the field. And that little boy was his future son. And at this time, he wasn't married. He didn't have any kids. And he saw in that dream the future son. And he's thinking, that's my son. If I die, I won't have a son. And I want a son. I want to be able to raise a child. And that there became the motivation, the desire, the push he needed to finish chopping off his arm, snap his bones, apply a tourniquet, and rappel down the mountain and saved his life. Because he was motivated to achieve that purpose. And that just shows how strong that motivation can influence you to overcome any trial, any adversity, anything that you face in your life. Anything that may be hitting you now, anything where you feel like you may want to be committing suicide, you think suicide's the way out. The preventive measure for this is finding what is that motivational purpose and being bound to achieve that motivational purpose. There's a motivational speaker that I like to listen to, but he swears a lot. His name's C.T. Fletcher. Big African-American bodybuilder. He's real awesome motivational speaker, and there's one phrase that he says one time. He's like the most highly motivational speech he ever received was when somebody told him he couldn't do it. Because then he was bound to prove them wrong with all of his strength, all of his endurance, everything he had. He was bound to die on that wrestling mat, to leave it all on the field. I'm going to show you. Tell me I can't do something and see what happens. And we need to find what it is. What's that motivational reason, purpose? Now, what I want you to take away from this video, I want you to look at all of Maslow's different levels of needs and do a self-analysis and determining, are there any needs that aren't being met? Are there any variables in my life that are preventing me from meeting these needs? And can I potentially reduce those variables or eliminate those variables? And then also, I want you to really focus on the very top one, looking at self-actualization. I think a lot of us, we do not understand our full potential. And a lot of times we need someone to push us and motivate us to achieve our full potential. And when we apply the very first one of achieving our full potential, we are going to fail. And I'm going to talk about later in this series the importance of failure and how it's key to look at the positive. And that's a lot of things that Maslow began to look at is what motivates us. Let's don't focus on the negative that motivates us. Let's focus on the positive stuff that motivates us. Let's focus on something bad happens. Don't feel all bad and depressed. Think about the positive. How am I going to grow from this? How am I going to get stronger from this? Thinking of the needs. And as you go through this and look at his different steps, focus on how can I apply these steps and tips to myself right now, and look for the positive. And I'm gonna go on in one of the next series talking a little bit more about resiliency. I actually had an article published in 2016 on resiliency. Message me and I'll send you a copy of it. I'm not sure if it's still up on the internet. But that's the key thing I wanted. The point I want to hit today is motivation.